Okay, let's have a quick look at Border's new Panzer IV Ausf, the last model. This is the Chinese version of it. Ryfield Models does a better version, but seems to be cheaper and it's got more bling in it. As you can see there, it's covered in bling. But I've already started building it. And here it is. Not too bad. I've had no problems with fit or anything like that. Now the instructions are terrible. You need to be experienced in making Panzer IVs. But everything fits together perfectly. Now the only other issue I have is they've used really cheap material. Like the Photo-etch is really good, but the plastic is pretty cheap. It's like they've made their cost savings in the manufacturing process. But they've spent a lot of money and a lot of time designing this thing because it's bloody spot on. And it's really fun to make. It's much like mini art. I just got my first mini art one not long ago. I built the Panzer III B model, and that was really fun. But this one has got so much Photo-etch in it, and it's got a metal barrel. I'll quickly show you inside what the instruction. Oh well, that I just haven't stuck that on. That's nothing important. So let's have a look inside. Now here's the instructions. We'll have a quick look at those. Now you've got a bit of information here on the Panzer. There's a little bit of history and all that. That's pretty accurate. It's got some pictures of the sprues, and you've got some extras. That is really nice. They're really nice. They've got all the writing on them and all that kind of stuff. Really cool. The bucket's got a little Photo-etch handle, and you got a spare wheel with no rubber on it, and you've got a heap of T34 track, and that's for extra armor if you need it. Now we can see here, it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's a bit of a mess. The instructions aren't Tamiya, I'll tell you that now. Or mini art. Mini art instructions weren't the greatest, but you know, there was like one or two mistakes in the mini art one, and this one's just full of it. And two, you can tell that it's been written by a Chinese person. Look at the English here. If you don't want to make a movable state, don't need a rubber. See, that's a very Chinese way of saying that. So it is not the greatest. See, you can't really notice it here, but see how busy it gets with the instructions. It becomes very like, what am I looking at? You know, sort of thing. You know, all this busyness going on, and then it's just like they'll have a step for like one piece or something like that. But this one's really good because it gives you heaps of options. Like, there's a ridiculous amount of return roller options here. Like, look at that. Look at that. Like, how many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options. You've got 2 options for the rear idler wheel support. On here, you can either use Photo-etch or you can use plastic. I went with the Photo-etch. I'll just quickly show you. Oh, the other one came off. Now it's stuck together well. See, my hand's in the way. It's stuck together well. Beautiful. But I'll show you the Photo-etch. I used the Photo-etch on the front there. See, looks pretty cool. Like a bit of Photo-etch, but you see that one there? Like, sometimes I find in these model kits that the Photo-etch, why? Like, what is that meant to be? I know it's a clip and all that kind of stuff, but it's just a piece of metal. Just stick that over there like that. Like, it doesn't, I don't know, like, why? And then you've got some clips at the back. I've just put a bit of chain over it. These ones are pretty cool though. That was straight into it, like that Photo-etch down there. That's pretty cool on the muffler. But I went with the tracks. I went with the Lincoln length ones that they put in there. because it's like, well, oh, there goes my spare wheels. Because it's like, well, then I've got a spare set of link and length. I mean, not link and length, just, you know, the trying to focus. The ones that you put a pin in. I've got a whole spare set of those, and you can use them on Panzers, but you can't use, because, as you know, the Model J only had the 3 return rollers there instead of the 4. So you can't use the link and length ones on anything else. So I use those, but they were horrible. I'll tell you this now, they're horrible. I had to stick them on. Now, usually you can just set them up and that and not glue them onto the tank and just take it off and paint it separately, but no, not these ones. So it was, I got them together, it worked. You see the back one there doesn't look too bad. I think it's this one that does. Yeah, this one looks a bit rubbish. Here, let's try and focus. Yeah, it just, see, I don't know if you can see that because it's all black, but you see how it's not fitting the best? It didn't fit the best. And they're so soft. Like the plastic these guys have used is really soft. And I first used the soft plastic with Mini Art, and the Mini Art soft plastic is unreal. Like, it's amazing. Like, I tell you that now, it's really good. But this wasn't as good. You know, I've been using these Tamiya snips, so no issue. But I have broken a few bits, not a lot, but you know, there's a few bits I've had to replace. But it's working out. That's all I can say. If you're just beginning in modeling, I wouldn't get this. But if you were, you know, experienced and you've done like, you know, 10 Tamiya kits or whatever, like that's experience enough for this kit. But it's a challenge because it's got problems, but you can always work it out. You can always work it out, and that's the thing. And I found with this that nothing's stuck me, this kit. It's, in the end, it's all worked, it's all fitted together. And you see that sticks together nice. I can paint that separately, but I'll put the skirts on first. Now I'll show you some of the photo etch as well, because that was really cool. Here it is. Just let me get it out, 1 second. So you get 3 sheets of it, and you get the metal barrel in there, the metal barrel. There you go. Here they are. So you get all the side skirts like usual with border, but these are the see-through ones, the mesh ones, and that's pretty cool. Now I found with the border ones, Photo-etch, the ones they use, it's basically the same as Mini Art's one. They're really thin and easy to work with, but just Mini Art's a little bit thinner. But I like these because I found Mini Art, Elsie, stop it. Elsie's messing with my barrel. Alright, she's got her eye on it now. Alright, play with it then. But I found Mini Art to be a little bit too thin. Like, it was hard to work with, but this is actually quite perfect. I've really enjoyed working with the Photo-etch here. You got all the parts, all the side skirts, and heaps of different things. It's really good. And there's a third one just there. That's got the handles for the buckets and that. See how thin those bucket handles are? It's good. Like, you could imagine the cutter coming in. That would be pretty fine CNC work there. There's the other one. But overall, like, I haven't finished, of course. You know, I'm up to, where are we up to? Let's have a look. So I'm up to the stage. We've gone past there. So I'm up to this stage. So I'm up to stage 23. I've still got to do the side skirts. Got to do the side skirts. Put them on, and then that's done. I can paint the body, and then I've just got to do the turret. I'm looking forward to doing the turret. I like doing turrets. especially with my metal barrel. That's a good addition. That's what sort of got me over the Ryefield one, because the Ryefield one was 114 or something like that, and this one was 75, and they looked basically the same. But I've heard good things about the Ryefield one. And then you've got the final one there. You've also got some cool painting options by MIG. You got that one, which is the dotted camouflage. And then you've got that one. I never do these, I always do my own little paint job or whatever I like, you know. I'm not a big historical person. I like history, I love history, but I like to make the model look like I want it. And there's the just normal camouflage, the red brown, the dunkel grail or whatever you call it. There's another spotted one, I don't mind that. Oh no, it's got normal camouflage with the spots in it. I did that with a character once. Everyone's favourite, the winter camouflage. But these two are the MIG ones. These two that Border have done with, I don't know, like those paint guys. Gecko or whatever. I don't know what Gecko, I don't even know where I got that word from. So you got the winter wash, which is always nice, but a lot of work. And then the final one is just your standard camo. But not bad little things. Like, I always like to have these, you know, they give you good ideas and stuff. Some people like to do them exact, but not much into that. I've got some good Dunkelgelb, whatever the hell, how would you call it that? I'll show you some of the plastic. These are too small. You know the pins for the tracks? If you're a modeler, you'll know. Pins for the tracks, I can't focus on them, but they're too small. Mini Arts ones were really good. And they're the tracks to go with it. They're in a black. And once again, Mini Arts ones were heaps better. It's a very hard plastic, so it's easy to work with, easy to cut out. Don't have to do much sanding, all that. See, but they're nicely detailed. They work. It's just those pins are too small. But what I did when I was making the spare track on the front there, not that I needed to pin them, but I did anyway, is I just glued up the pins heads before I stuck them in. It seemed to do the job. But if you don't glue the pin heads, they just fall straight out. They're ridiculously too small. Now here's some of the plastic. As you can see, it's got that sort of really mini art bend. It's the floppy stuff. It's not like Tamiya. Tamiya's got that really hard stuff. Everyone uses different. Heaps of spares in this kit. Like, there's going to be so much spare stuff left over, like all those return rolling wheels. And this kit's really detailed too. I love the detail on it. Everything's really detailed. It's, you know, it's got Continental tires written on the rubber wheels and all that kind of stuff. And there's part numbers on the everything. It's really nice like that, but it's so small, it'd be nearly impossible to focus. We got the turret. They put them in these like drug bags, which Mini Art I think used to do, but now they've sort of professionaled up a bit. What else we got left in here? Heaps of sprues. Heaps and heaps and heaps of sprues. Oh, here's some of that track left over. I don't know what this one was for. It must have been from another model of them or something like that. But this is horrible. This Lincoln length stuff is horrible. And that's what I went with, but it's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it. I just sort of, you know, started and was adamant that I was going to finish, and I did. So I'm going to go with it. May as well. Yeah, it looks fine. It looks fine. It's just for my enjoyment. It's like, you know, expecting that no one to impress. I think it looks cool. That's enough for me. And where's those? Oh yeah, where are those? The T34 track's in there somewhere. But it is pretty logical too, like different sections are on different sprues sort of thing. It's not like tack on where it's, you got parts you're making and you have to have every sprue out. Floppy. But I like floppy, but this stuff's not the greatest. As I said. But too, another thing I've noticed is the different sprues are different colours. I don't think you'll be able to pick it up. I've never had that before in a model. No, you can't really see it on camera. Maybe with that hinge you can see the contrast. Yeah. Yeah, see the bottom one's darker than the top one? I don't know if they use different plastic on different ones or if... I don't know, it's dye. I have no idea about making this stuff. Not my expertise. Well, anyway, that's the Panzer IV Model J, the last model. I think it's Border's latest release. Overall, I'm having a blast. It's really fun. It's worth it. Get it. You know, if you've got the money to spend on the rye-filled one, go for that. But this one's just probably as good. I'll have to buy the rye-filled one at some point and try it. So I can't make that judgment really. But you know, I'm not regretting getting this. That's all I can say. I'm not regretting getting it at all. Highly recommended. Highly recommended.